Hey crew, how we doing? Okay, unbelievably special treat, and something you mightn't know, right, is that one of the most prolific coaches on our platform is actually a swimming coach. We've got Brenton Ford here from Effortless Swimming, and Brent and I met bloody long time ago, mate. Probably about 8 years, 9 years, 10 years ago. Let's say
I'd say
10 years
10.
ago. 10 years ago, right? You started out by giving me lessons. I'm a passionate swimmer, still trying to evolve that skill. It's never ending. But we met about 10 years ago. You started looking at my stroke, which was absolutely incredible, and I've sent some stuff through to you in the meantime. But it was during I think my first lesson with you. I said, "Hey, I'm actually building this software. I think it could work really, really well for you." And you're like, "Yeah, give me a crack at it." And you were, I mean, it was with the timing was right because I think you were ready to move across to a brand new software and you're looking for something. And since then, you've done over 10,000 lessons on the platform. You run largely all of your analysis business through Skillest, your student interactions in person, and a lot online. You do have a massive separate website business that you run. But mate, I thought this would just be a huge opportunity to get someone who's outside the golfing sphere and talk about how you've built this unbelievable empire that is effortless swimming. Whether you're selling goggles, podcasting, YouTube, Instagram, mate, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me. And 10 years ago, when we first met, just through at MSAC in Melbourne, I think at the time I was looking at developing our own analysis app because at
Yeah,
the time we were using Coach's Eye all the way back then.
yeah.
And I would employ someone 2 days a week to export all of our recordings and videos from our swim clinics that we were running and then rename them, upload them, and send them out to our students. And it was just so cumbersome. And then I thought, all right, well, maybe there's a better way to do it. And then we met. You showed me a platform, and I was like, oh, okay, like I'll give it a try. I'd love to have our own thing, but I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And when you told me how much you'd already invested to get it to that point, and this was 8, 9 years ago, I
Yeah.
thought, well, thank God I didn't go down that rabbit hole because it would have been a very expensive exercise in something that I probably couldn't get to work. I reckon not nowhere near as good as Skillest. So, yeah, I'm glad
Totally.
we met.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's been mutually beneficial, that's for sure. But mate, give us a little bit of your background. Like, tell everyone, even before you decided I'm going to build one of the biggest digital swimming brands in the world. Like, who are you, and like, what did you do leading up to the point where you wanted to do that?
Yeah, my background was swimming. I started at a very young age. Growing up swimming, started to make a few national age group finals as a teenager, but I was never good enough to make or even like Australian Opens. I think I was 0.03 off was the best I ever did. So
Wow.
I was good, but not good enough. But I was always interested in technique. I remember watching videos of Alexander Popov, Ian Thorpe, Michael Phelps when they would put out DVDs or VHS tapes, even back in the day. And I was really into that.
Mm.
So I think that interest really carried through when I went to university and I studied business at uni. And one of our projects there was you can either start a business or you can go and do placement at Deloitte, one of the big accounting firms. And I thought I'll give it a crack. I'll see how I go starting my own venture. And I teamed up with a friend of mine who was actually on the Australian team. And we came together and created a freestyle digital product.
Mm.
And then it sort of started from that. I started posting some videos on YouTube, giving people tips and advice. And at the time, I thought, who the hell am I to give any sort of advice or tips? And maybe that was right too. Like who am I? I was an okay swimmer. I just started doing some coaching as well when I went to uni. So I was a few years into that, but just over time, I think I built the experience and the knowledge working with adult swimmers because I started
Mm.
coaching PowerPoints, which was a masters club in Melbourne,
Yeah.
and just sort of got some experience there and just started making some content and giving more tips. And then it all started from that. And that was 17 or 18 years ago. I started Effortless Swimming.
Mm.
And I thought 2 years into it, I thought, oh look, I'm just going to be absolutely like killing it with this business in a year's time.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. It took probably 6 or 7 years to be able to go full time with it, and even then, that was just kind of scraping by. But
Mm.
I'm glad I stuck at it because there were so many times where I could have just gone, nah, it's not worth it. And before, with like my wife and I had kids, she's like, you better make this work, or you have to go and get a job, like a proper job, because like I'm not going to be working. You better get your ass into gear. So, yeah, that was a good kick up the butt that I needed.
Yeah, and you probably started just young enough, didn't you? It can be I'm turning 45 in a couple of months. Like it can be hard to start at that point and give everything up. So
Mm.
probably naively young enough to think you can sort of pull it off, which you have. And to give everyone out there a bit of an idea, it was funny. I was actually speaking to a cycling coach the other day, and I was talking about you, and I was talking about the empire you built, and he was like, wow, do that many people like swimming that much, do they? Like, it seems pretty niche. I'm like, yeah, like it's huge, like
Yeah.
triathlon and like open water, and it's absolutely enormous. But to give people an idea of like your empire, like, and forgive me for calling it that, but it really, like, you are unequivocally, I would say, like the biggest digital coach, swimming coach in the world. Like, what YouTube followers, Instagram followers, like, give us an idea of your reach.
Yeah, Instagram, I think we're at 330,000.
Yeah,
YouTube's 390,000.
yeah,
Uh, TikTok, I didn't even look at that. I just had my team post on there, but that's not much. It's maybe 50 or 60.
yeah,
But and then what else have we got? Uh, yeah, they're probably the main ones, I think. So uh,
awesome.
yeah, and it's one thing I learned with that was consistency. It's like
Yeah.
the more consistent I can be with that, posting every couple of days or every week if it's on YouTube, like that's when things really started to take off. So
Mm,
that's one thing that when people ask me for advice, I get a lot of swim coaches asking, or even just people who are running other sports coaching businesses. It's
mm,
like you don't know what's going to take off, but eventually you'll make enough content that something will. And
mm.
for us, there was actually one video. There was a guy, Dan Smith, ex-Olympic swimmer, incredible stroke.
Yeah.
And he contacted me out of the blue because he'd seen some of the videos we've done. He's like, hey, I like what you do. Is there something, can we work together? Like, let's just catch up. So we did that. I filmed him swimming and I posted this one video, which was him swimming 100 meters in a minute 10, which is a pretty quick pace, but he made it look like he wasn't trying whatsoever.
Looks like two
And
minute. Looks like he was doing a 2 minute 100 meters, and it was a minute 10. Yeah.
yeah, incredible, like faster than pretty much most people will ever go in their life.
Ever.
And,
And
and
flat out. Like I could go flat out and like as hard as I possibly could and not do 110, I don't think. So
yeah, it's very quick. And that like that one piece of content kind of made us go to that next level with our reach. And I heard there was people where you are, it's like in Noosa, some of the try coaches there and stuff like, did you see that video that Effortless Swimming put out of that guy Dan Smith? Like I heard that from other people. So
yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's only came around because of that consistency.
Yeah, that consistency and then finding that one that hits. And that thing that hits as well is often collaboration. This is what we see all
Mm.
the time, right? Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. Like share. There is what's the name of the guy that's the investor in school? Alex Hormozy, is that his name? Do you know that guy? Like he talking about marketing, he said, you're always going to lose if you think that the world is a zero-sum game, right? That someone else has to lose for you to win. Like everything's a win-win largely. It's very rarely like win-lose, right? So collaborating is just huge. Like if you cross-pollinate with other people's followers or subscriber base, that's the best thing in the world you can possibly do, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done that with several other swimmers or coaches,
Mm.
and it's only kind of helped us both grow. Like for example, there's another guy. He's an open water swimmer, Andy Donaldson.
Yeah.
He used to hold the record around Manhattan Island, swimming around Manhattan Island,
Yeah.
and a few other ones. And we did a video together that was I just asked him about his stroke. What do you think about your head position, your legs? And we just tied that in with some footage of him swimming. And
Mm.
that really took off. And he was reasonably well known, but that
Mm.
helped him become a lot more well known. And it also helped us. And now we work together, we run some camps together. And it's a big win-win. And so we've done that with other people. And it's been so worthwhile. And I think
Yeah.
that approach as well, because I've seen it with some swim coaches where it's just like, nah, like they're my swimmer. I'm not gonna share anything. I'm not gonna work with other coaches. But I think long term, that's doing you harm.
Yeah, big time. It's like, yeah, trying to be a protectionist never works out in the end. You hold on tight enough, they're going to slip through your fingers, as they say. So,
Mm.
yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So, give everyone a little bit of an idea of like your lifestyle, right? If like, because you've, it's the work you put in early on, like you're on the pool deck early, you were also creating content, you were doing all these things that probably took up, you had like a 72-hour week essentially, but now you've been able to be so successful. Like, give everyone an idea of what your day to day looks like.
One of the things I learned early on from a business coach actually was the importance of team, and so having people there to help out. So when I first started, I was doing all the customer support, all the emails, just everything. And so I got a bit of a team involved. I've got a team of about of four now,
Yeah,
and also some contractors who've helped me with filming and editing and all that sort of stuff as well.
yeah,
But getting a good team in place, and then just having this cadence each week or each month of, all right, this we're doing our filming here. The team know how to, and we're running our clinics here on these dates. So there's kind of this rhythm and routine that we get into with when we run the things that we run. And
yeah,
so a lot of that work early on is now paying off where I live down the coast here in Victoria. I
yeah.
love to surf. So if the surf's good, 9 times out of 10, I can be out there. Doesn't mean that I don't work hard and that I don't, I've still got commitments with the clinics and all of that stuff. But one of the things I wanted to do early on was set the business up so that I can enjoy my lifestyle. Because when I was 18, I started surfing, and to me, that was like, I just loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so I wanted to build everything around being able to do that when it was
Mm,
good. And I remember sitting down, I must have been 23 or 24. I wrote down a list of about 12 things that I said, all right, this is what I want my life to look like. And one of those was surf when it's be able to surf when it's good.
yeah.
And that's the thing I like with well, like with Skillest, for example, it gives a lot of people that opportunity to do things remotely. And I think even more so now that it's accepted that you can have a remote coach, whereas
Mm,
15, 20 years ago that wasn't really heard of.
mm,
People still go to me like, "How can you be an online swim coach? How does that work?"
mm,
And it's just like,
mm.
"Well, it does, and you
Yeah,
can."
totally. And so a question is like, would you have brought a team on earlier, or did you bring the team on at the time where you were forced into it because you were so busy? Does that make sense? So there's going to
Mm.
be coaches out there that they might be getting a little bit busy using Skillest, and they've got their in-person stuff and hybrid stuff, all that stuff happening. When should someone bring a team? Should they bring it on way before they even think they should, which will then help them grow? Or what's your advice to people there?
I think it's better to bring them on before you need them
Yeah.
is one thing, because then it also frees you up mentally to think about the bigger things about your business. So, and I think one of the first things to assist with there, depending on how you're running your business, but for me, that was just the administration and the customer support. So, for example, like for us, if we run a lot of clinics where we use Skillest there to help analyze people's strokes. Uh, we have to book pools, we have to set things up on this platform that we use to run the clinics. And so all that stuff was just taking up headspace for me. So
Yeah.
just training someone up, and it's I think a good way to think of training someone up is like, I do it, we do it, you do it. It's like follow
Right.
that process to help them know how to do these things. Then yeah, and then it just made it so much easier for me to focus on it was, the coaching side of things, and then also just expanding and growing what we're doing. And I just brought another customer support person on to we don't quite need them yet, but I can see the things that we're doing in the
Mm.
next 3 months, we're going to need another person. So I've just brought them on early, take the financial hit in a way, but I think it just kind of, you're preparing for what you're building.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a great answer. So you are bringing people on probably sooner than you need. So, I mean, because often like when you bring them in, if you really need them, they're then not up to speed and they can't actually do the job properly because, they're not ready to go. They don't hit the ground running sort of thing. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's really interesting. Now, the reason you need all these people, you've got something you said coming. I think I know what that is. We were just having a chat about it, but like, tell everyone about like what's your business model and what revenue streams have you got? Like how now that you've built this brand, that is everywhere across socials and YouTube and everything, how do you think about how you make money? Like what are your streams?
There's four things that we primarily do. One is our online coaching.
Mm,
So that's online analysis. We've got our courses as well. So
mm,
that's one that we had from the beginning. That was our very first one.
yeah.
Second one is in-person clinics. So
Mm,
around Australia, we run clinics Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, occasionally other locations as well, and that's where we do underwater filming, analysis, and like drills and things like that. So that's the second one. Third one is camps, primarily overseas. So we run trips in Thailand, uh, Maldives, Galapagos Islands, Japan next year. Like we've added a few different locations. So
yeah.
in-person camps, and then the fourth one that we've added in the last 6 months has been these anti-fog goggles. So there's this new
Mm,
technology that got developed about 2 years ago, and we've just started producing these goggles, and that's probably going to be the biggest part of our business in about 6 months' time. So
wow.
you just don't, yeah, and I would never have guessed that
No.
whatsoever. But just I think a bit of luck, we got approached by a company that was kind of doing these, and that we got approached because of the work we've done in the past, because of the videos and all of that. And when I think of all the stuff that we're doing now, those opportunities just came because of the things that we had done in the past. Like the camps, I got asked by someone who was working at Tanyapura, which is a Nova sports resort in Thailand. I just knew him through the work we were doing, and he said, "Oh, look, I got this job here. It's a sports resort. Do you want to bring some people over, see how you go?" I was like, "Cool, let's do that." And then that started all these other camps, and so yeah, it's just funny how things progress. It's nothing that I could have guessed when I first started, but you kind of just figure it out as you go.
Yeah. And we were sort of mentioning this before we started the call, but like what's happening now is because of the distribution and marketing you created in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So previously what people would do is like, well, I'll come up with some really clever product, and then you try and figure out how the hell am I going to get this out to the world. But what we're
Mm.
seeing more and more, whether it's on the golf side, there's a guy called Rick Shields who's got 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube. He's now got distribution and marketing taken care of. He just needs a product, right? So
Yeah.
you're sort of now, because of this reputation and the distribution and marketing you've got, you can pretty much sell whatever you want, really. But I mean, everyone knows, anyone who's been a swimmer knows you need anti-fog goggles, because it's essentially been the unsolvable problem to this point, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been like it was an issue that I would run into when I was racing. Can't see where you're going. It was
Mm,
annoying in training. And if
mm,
you're in the ocean, you've got fish, you've got all these things you want to see, but if you can't see them, it's frustrating. So
yeah,
we just sort of stumbled upon them.
yeah,
And one thing as well, and I don't know, be keen to get your take on this too, is
yes.
like I had a coach, a friend and a coach. He said to me this morning, actually, he said like, "What? I watched this video that you did. Like that's you're giving away a lot of stuff. Like you kind of." Like how come you don't keep anything back?
Mm,
And that's something that I've heard from a lot of other people too. It's like, are you sure you want to put all your stuff out there? And like there are some things that like we'll keep for clinics and all that sort of stuff, but I think that the more that you can share, the more someone's going to go, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, or I can resonate with that. I like this guy. So
yeah.
that's why I don't hold back in the stuff that we put out there.
100%. Oh, we completely agree. And I mean, the one thing that I would also say is that people will still always need a bit of customized work. Like you can give everyone the most perfect description of something, the best visual or whatever, but when they get in the water, they're like, "Is this 100? Is this 110 degrees? Is this like So like
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter like how much you put out there. People need customized stuff, and guess what? The customized stuff you can charge a hell of a lot for.
Mm.
Right. So that's what we do on Skillest. Like you give away a lot. And then when someone comes to you on Skillest, like some of our coaches are charging 700 US a month for a subscription. Right.
Mm.
So, that's that you only need a few of those people to make a hell of a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
and the other thing is obviously is what you've achieved is that like you never wanted to be a legend in Melbourne or even Albert Park. You wanted to be a global legend, right? So you don't want to, if you can't expect to have global reach unless you're giving a lot of everything away, to be perfectly honest. So totally
Mm.
agree with that. Just getting back to it, like we sort of brushed over it really quickly, but what you've been able to build is just enabled you, like you have swim schools in Thailand, in the Maldives, the Galapagos Islands, like the lifestyle you're able to like build for yourself through all of this is like absolutely incredible. So I just want, yeah, everyone just take note of like this incredible lifestyle. You can do that with golf or any sport. Is like once you become, globally um, aware and people are aware of you, you can throw up a clinic anywhere and people will fly in and see you. Like they're going to do it, the whole time. But getting back to consistency, right, and content, like the thing that you're amazing at is all of that. And like everyone should go and follow Effortless Swimming. Even if you want to get really good at swimming, obviously Brenton's your man. But like if you just want to watch like great content and figure out like how should I be approaching this, you're just very consistent at pumping out. How do you like structure a content calendar? Or like I do sometimes look at you and go, God, he never runs out of ideas to talk about. Like, it's incredible. Like, so I was actually watching one yesterday because I went for a swim, got home, and I really did think, I reckon I'm dropping my arm too far down in the water. So I can't, this afternoon, I'm going to go for a swim. So like there was just like little bits like that. And so how do you do that? Like how do you
Mm,
maintain fresh content and not get burnt out? Because that is the thing that stops most people from doing anything, I would say. They're like, what am I going to
mm.
talk about? And like, how do I keep it going?
And it is something that crosses my mind. It's like, well, I've talked about this before,
Yeah.
but the thing is, you probably don't even remember all the videos that you've done if you've produced content. And it's likely the first time that someone's hearing that and they're hearing it from you. So people are not going to get sick of hearing the same message again and again. And I think of uh, some of the people that I follow, whether it's like surfing or if it's like business or like I often when I hear them say the same thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I do need to like, use my backhand in surfing. It's like you hear these things and you're not like you don't haven't internalized it like you've probably internalized the things that you're actually coaching. So
Yeah.
it's totally fine to repeat the same things, maybe in a slightly different way. But yeah, it's like you don't go and watch AC/DC and not want them to play Thunderstruck. Like you want to hear the greatest hits. So
It's
you
so true.
so that's part of it. And then in terms of like how we go about making content, so I've got a guy locally who comes in and I set aside half a day or a day to film. I'll have 5 or 6 YouTube videos scripted or planned out. I don't like having them fully scripted because I need to riff on things. I'll have dot points set out there. So we'll film those. I'll then send them to an editor who will make those YouTube videos. And then someone on my team, they basically put together the Instagram reels from that. So in half a day's work, we can get 2 months worth, maybe 3 months of Instagram stuff
Wow.
from that half a day. And outside of the scripting of those videos, I am not involved in the process. So that's how we can be consistent with our content.
Mm.
And the girl that does our Instagram stuff, she's better than I am. But I gave her a bit of a framework on how to do the videos. It's like we want in this piece of content, find the hook. Like what's the thing that will intrigue someone in the first couple of seconds?
Yeah.
And something that I do in some of our videos. So I filmed one 2 days ago actually that hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
I wrote down 23 different points, and actually it was so there's a guy John Conrad's Australian swimmer from the 1960s. He put out a DVD, and I watched that about 10 years ago. And I made some notes and I just came across them in my Gmail. I must have sent them to myself. So I came across that and there was 23 points there that he had put in the DVD. So I made a video about these points, whether I agree with them or not. But so I would start each section of this video with like whatever he said. It's like, breathe every 2 strokes, but swap sides every 25. So I'd start it with that and then I'd riff on it. But that'll give us 23 Instagram reels to go through, and like they're good hooks, they're engaging, and yeah, that's just gives us so much content. So I think you
Yeah.
can get a lot done with a good team and a good process like that. So yeah, because I couldn't be there. I mean, at the start, I was certainly doing all of that stuff, but now I'm
Mm.
at the point where I've found some good team members. But if it is just you, I mean, that yeah, you can still do it. Use something
Mm.
like CapCut to put together the videos, have a bit of a framework, and you can punch out two videos a day if you wanted to,
So
especially if
something,
you're getting
yeah,
started.
something that you obviously do that. Probably it's a little harder to do. Oh, maybe it isn't. No. Where so much of your cool content, it's you coaching, and I think that that's a really great hack as well because we've heard so many, not so many, I've heard like creators say the greatest thing you can do as a sports coach, right? The greatest content you can make, it's completely unscripted. You don't need to plan it, right? And but you do it all the time is you coaching. So film
Mm,
yourself coaching, capture great moments, and that's
yeah,
something that happens all the time. Like you're doing clinics all the time, you're doing these amazing schools all the time, and camps all the time. Like, if you're just capturing that, that's going to be enough. Like, I think that,
yeah,
right,
true.
you're like, I don't think I've ever seen you, Brenton. I'm trying to think. You don't like put the camera up and go, hi, today we're going to talk about the high elbow cat, blah, blah, blah. It's all like, capture everything as it's happening. I mean, you do like Friday, fix or whatever it is, student reviews, and people have sent in their stroke and you're looking at that, but it's largely organic stuff that you then just cut up and send. Yeah, well, they cut up and then send to socials.
Yeah, and something on that too. There's two things that I find useful. Uh, I heard this from I can't remember who I heard it from, but basically said like any piece of content you put out, make sure it's only content that you can make. As in, don't just repeat a point because like you heard someone else say it. It's like you've got things that you've probably come up with from your coaching that you say in a certain way or you explain it a certain way. It's an analogy or a story. Like only put out the content that is you, or else they can follow someone else. And I've found
Yep.
that so helpful because
Mm.
the feedback I get from a lot of the stuff that I put out is like you explain things really clearly and really well, and I can understand them. And I think part of that's because I don't come from a biomech background because
Yeah.
I never studied that. I understand parts of it for sure, but uh, I wanted to be able to understand things so as easy as I could. And my brain doesn't sort of think scientifically that way. It's like I just
Mm.
want to make it as clear as possible. So that's why I think the stuff that I put out resonates with a lot of swimmers and triathletes because I've seen people explain swimming in a way that I don't understand, and I thought, well,
Yeah.
shit, how's someone who's like
Useless.
who's new to swimming gonna understand it?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is like with your concepts, like you're probably better off just getting to the point or get something to interesting straight away. Otherwise, you've lost them. So
Yeah.
yeah, get to the point quicker.
Yeah, they're two great pieces of advice, and we do say that to like our coaches, on the golf side. It's like, what is your belief system? Like, what do you believe to be true? And a lot of coaches will say, "Oh, I don't like teaching models, and like, oh, I don't want to." But the reality is, everyone has a belief system, and you need to be conscious of yours because it's what people love. Like, people want to know what you think. They want to fall in love with like your preferences and things like that. So sit down, try and figure out what those are and lean
Mm.
into them, I think is really important.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is, it's not like the issue I have is like, oh, it's not going to apply to everyone. But if you're trying to make content that applies to everyone, it applies to no one. So
Yeah.
I did a video about 230 per 100 swimmers to 115. Like, how do you progress from like kind of beginner down to like professional? Like, what are the issues that you'll encounter along the way? And some of the comments I'm getting there is like, well, I'm 230, but I've been swimming for 10 years, but it's because I'm 70 years old. So it's like this doesn't apply to me. It's like, well, of course, if you're thinking about like all the caveats and nuances of every little, like no one's going to stick around for it. So you've kind of got to be definitive in the way that you explain it. But of course, there's going to be people that doesn't apply to because your audience could be millions of people. You can't please everyone.
Yeah. And okay, so that's sort of, we'll wrap this up because you've just given me plenty of time and just so much gold. But like, I actually spoke to a coach this morning, right? Really nice guy. But probably very humble and timid's not the right word, but like, he's scared to sort of get out there for so many different reasons. But like you would with your, reach online, you'd get haters and like people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. So there's always that is just as unfortunately, it's about as natural as the sun coming up in the morning. You're going to get haters if you decide to go online. What would you say to someone who's like really nervous about going online? And then how do you like once say they one day over years get to the point of where you are, how do you deal with any sort of hate or pushback?
That was a big concern I had early on. And now, like it's been 17, 18 years, could not care less what someone says. Because
Mm.
I know who I am, like my family knows who I am, and like and my family and friends and like and our customers. Like I try and look after all of our customers and clients. So like I know the person that I am, so I've got no issues if someone who doesn't know me says something about me.
Yeah.
But yeah, early on it was certainly it was hard because firstly it's like, well, who am I to put this stuff out there?
Yeah.
And what if someone says something that they're like, or they don't agree with it, or I've said something wrong?
Mm.
Uh, so I mean, the thing is, when you start out, no one's going to see what you do anyway. You're going to have such a small reach and such a small
Yeah.
audience that it's yeah, it's a tree falling in the woods. So that take that as a positive that
Mm.
no one's really going to see it anyway. And the
Yeah.
thing is, your family and your or mostly your friends probably are going like, can you see that Bane's putting out content? Like, do you see what he's making these videos? But
Mm.
the way I see it is that if that's the thing that's going to stop me from living my life the way that I want to live it, then that is not enough of a reason for me to not do it. So
Yeah.
when I was probably 4, 5 years into the business, and there was a coach that he would sometimes be coaching the sessions that I was swimming in down in Melbourne, and like got on great, like I like no issues with him whatsoever. But we were running some ads to try and fill our clinics when we were first starting them, some Facebook ads, and he commented on one of them, and it was me just talking about like the swim stroke, and he said, "Get this shit off my like Facebook." I was
Mm.
like, mate, like, I know you. Like,
Yeah.
what's that about? And
Yeah.
so, and I thought, well, that says a lot more about you than it does about me.
Mm.
And that kind of just that spurred me on. I was like, all right, that's fine. You can be that way, but
Yeah.
I'm going to, that kind of made me go, oh, I'll show you,
Yeah.
like, yeah. And
I
it took a
love it.
while to, get there, but it's just, I don't know,
It's inevitable. Like, yeah,
it's
it is
inevitable. Yeah.
inevitable. So you've just got to, but you've got to, yeah. I mean, you do. I mean, your skin must be so, all of us that are online putting out, well, I get like even on Skillest, like coaches come in there and abuse me, like sometimes, like believe it or not, like over the weekend, I had a coach in there like literally abusing me about, I should be getting thousands of lessons, but he hadn't done anything on the platform, and but it was, this is just like part of like when you build anything and build an ecosystem, you're gonna have people that abuse you, sort of thing. So anyway,
Yeah.
so the last thing I probably want to ask you about is AI, like if that's all right. So we're building a whole bunch of things that I'll talk to you about actually, probably post this. But how are you incorporating it into your everything you do, from the way you're, even analyzing students? I know you've probably seen all the AI summaries now that we've got
Mm.
after each lesson, and some of our coaches on the golf side are actually taking that and it building and they're putting it into ChatGPT, and it creates practice plans for the student, right? So,
Huh.
is there anything you're doing around sort of helping swimmers get better? But is there anything you're doing in your day to day to help your operation get better?
Mm. Well, the AI summaries, yeah, I use that all the time with the athletes. I say, all right, I talked about quite a few things here. If you forget, hit this AI summary button, generate, and that will just remind you. And it's very accurate. Like it's
Yeah.
very good. I'm surprised how much you can get from just from just the audio. Like it's
And
really
sometimes
good.
it clarifies your thinking, doesn't it? You look back and go, yeah, that is what I was trying to say.
Yeah,
It's
that's
good
right.
that way. Yeah.
So I have in terms of analysis, like we don't use anything like that at the moment, but I've spoken to two people who are like developing that sort of stuff. So
Yep.
I'm interested in that. But then
Mm.
I use it a lot with like content planning, ideas, and things like that,
Yeah.
as well as kind of consolidating my thoughts. It's like we've kind of given ChatGPT and some of the other platforms a lot of the way that we think and frameworks and things like that. So
Yep.
just using that to help us, yeah, come up with sort of drill progressions and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we are certainly using it, and I think a lot of people are thinking, well, okay, it's going to replace us as coaches, but I think it just makes anything that's in person or personal, whether it's online or in person, only more valuable
Yeah.
because it's like you sort of crave that actual feedback from an actual person. We're
Mm.
getting all of our terms and conditions and waivers and stuff done at the moment, where we can get a good round done on, say, Claude, which is like another
Yep.
ChatGPT competitor. But there's no way I'm just going to go, oh yeah, I'm happy with that. I want a proper lawyer to look out
Mm.
for it or to go over it. Sorry. So
Yep.
yeah, I think it makes what we do actually more valuable.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think for the people that leverage it the best way, it's going to be huge for them. It's just going to be exponential for their business, I'd say. So,
Yeah.
um, cool, mate. Well, that was wild. That's just, I mean, it's just been so cool to watch your story. And like being a swimmer myself, I just like relentlessly watch your content and just like I'm taking so much from it all the time. So if you are out there, go to subscribe, Effortless Swimming on YouTube and Instagram in particular. Podcast. You've also got a podcast. So if anyone wants to listen to a podcast around swimming and optimizing that, then make sure you jump on that. But mate, I just want to thank you for being on the platform for so long and yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm going to send my stroke over to you very soon.
Sounds good. Well, thank you as well for developing Skillest because uh, I don't know how we would actually run our clinics side of the business and part of our camps as well without Skillest, and like that is genuine. I don't know how we do it. It'd be a lot harder. So yeah, thank you for developing it. You probably saved me $500,000 in development costs for something that wouldn't be very good. So yeah.
Even more, like
I don't. That was like 10 years.
yeah,
That was like 8 years
yeah,
ago, I
yeah,
think. So
exactly, exactly. In the first year, maybe. So,
yeah, that's right.
uh, well, thanks for your time, mate. Really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, like I don't want to throw you under the bus, but if any of the coaches out there are curious, because I can guarantee you there's a bunch of very successful coaches on our platform who'll be really intrigued about how you have commercialized your business once you have built such a big audience. So I'm sure some will reach out too.
Yeah, yeah. You can even just email me, Brent, Brent at effortlessswimming.com.
Perfect, mate.
Cool. Thanks, Baden. Appreciate it.